Good morning, everyone. Oh, I'm seeing all your faces. Hi. I think we're gonna get started. You can just hit play on the playlist before we even do anything because ideally, we're not gonna do much today. Ideally, we're just gonna kind of chill. And I'm gonna try to really rein myself in. You know, I sometimes get carried away with all the bells and all the whistles and all the things we could be doing. But today I think that this is more about us finding some stillness and finding some peace. It is, of course, your practice. So whatever you feel like doing, you're welcome to do. there's no wrong way for you to practice your yoga this morning. But yeah, let's begin on our bellies with the music on. And let's see, I do have some thoughts for today that mostly center around us just finding space for rest, but giving ourselves permission to do so. I think that a lot of us have been feeling very activated recently for lots of reasons, you know, but mainly because of what is going on as far as racial injustice, what is going on as far as really wanting a better world, right? And I think as people of conscience, we feel really stirred up by all of this, and rightfully so. We feel like we want to change things. We feel like we want to be the people who make this happen, right, in whatever way we can. And one thing that I just keep on learning over and over again is that, yes, that activation is necessary. It is required. The discomfort, the work, it's all required. But to balance that out, we need rest. We just need it. Our bodies need it. Our bodies require deep, deep rest. And today we're going to kind of focus on the kidney meridian. The kidney meridian is physically located in our upper and our lower body. And it kind of begins up at the top of the rib cage near your collarbones, kind of in the middle, and goes down the rib cage through the belly. And then down the inside line of the leg, the inside line of the ankle, and then there's this really nice little grounding point at the sole of your foot. So as you lie down on your belly, just think about really feeling that contact of the front of your body with the floor. You might even take your feet a little bit wider and then turn your toes out, even if it feels just a tad bit uncomfortable. Good. Taking notice of the way your breath is moving this morning. The fullness of your breath, the depth of your breath. And just doing what you can to check in with yourself. Our kidneys are said, our kidney system in traditional Chinese medicine are said to be kind of the holder, the keeper, the source of our essence, or what's known as jing. There's qi and jing. So while qi is life force, jing is your essence. Good. And if we spend a lot of time super activated, if we spend a lot of time like burning the candle at both ends, whether we want to or not, we're going to burn ourselves out. So imagining that you can send breath into your physical kidneys, which are kind of in your mid to lower back. And breathe deeply and notice the movement in that area. The back of the body rising up and down. Good, and why don't we take maybe 15 to 20 deep breaths right here. Good, another handful of breaths here, as big as you can make them. Great, and then if your hands aren't yet stacked and your forehead isn't yet resting on your hands, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna taking the elbows out wide. We're gonna take that left knee and slide it up towards the left side of the chest, and then see if you can scoot the upper body over to the left as well, moving your left elbow towards the left knee. Good, you might even bring them to touch, or maybe not. But the thought is that we are kind of stretching through the right side of the front of the rib cage a little bit, the side of the rib cage, and the inside line of that left leg. Good, breathing deeply into the right underarm and triceps. Good, full breath.
What is he? What are they?
Good, and about 10 more deep breaths here, holding yourself in this pose. Good, and then from here, begin to slide that left leg nice and long behind you. And I think we're gonna take the hands underneath the shoulders and just gently tuck back into a child's pose for a little while, maybe like a good 2 minutes or so. Good, and here in your child's pose, rock your forehead from side to side. Loosen your jaw, loosen the corners of your eyes. Good, and then notice again that space at the lower back. Good, on either side of your spine, just above your pelvis, where your kidneys are housed. And take some big deep breaths into that space. Good, another few big breaths here, letting the weight of your head settle down into the floor. Whatever's underneath it, maybe your hands are there. Good, one more breath. Okay, and eventually we're gonna find our bellies again, but if you're craving something like a down dog into a plank and then lowering yourself down, that's a thought. Maybe you just wanna like kind of slide your way forward, keeping close contact with the floor. Really, the choice is yours. Nice. Take your time, use your breath. Notice what your body is asking for this morning. Good, deep inhale and exhale once you make it to the floor, really connecting yourself. And then we're just gonna take that half frog pose over to the other side. So let's slide that right knee up towards the right side of the chest and stack your hands and move your upper body in that direction as well, so that your elbow is moving towards that right top of the knee. Good. Good. Let yourself fill right up and empty out again. Good. So I was inspired a little bit today by Kelly's Sutras workshop yesterday. My teacher, Kelly Cam, offered the Sutras workshop, and if anybody would like the link to that, I'd be happy to send it to you. But she brought up this important point that's kind of outlined in the Yoga Sutras that asks us to live in the middle of practicing or striving, right? And non-attachment or letting go. So that is the tricky balance, isn't it? How do we do both? Right? How do we live in both worlds? And if your life is full of challenges, if your life is full of work to be done, as really all of our lives kind of need to be right now, the value of this time spent resting is kind of invaluable. And thinking about each breath here is like a little gift that you give to your body, to your nervous system. Thinking of each breath as kind of a reminder of the way back home again. Good, maybe another 3 to 5 breaths, as sweet as you can make them for yourself. Good, and then go ahead and slide the right leg back behind you. And this is where we find our Sphinx pose. So let's prop ourselves up, our elbows right underneath the shoulders or in that region. Good, and then just kind of balance your hips a little bit. Sometimes I like to rock my hips from side to side a touch, or even like pick up my pelvis and set it back down. And then think about gently drawing those lower ribs away from the very top of your pelvis here to create a bit more space in the belly. You know, another funky side effect of being constantly activated is that our deep core muscles, our psoas muscles, just get really cranky. They get so grumpy, they get tight. And then that affects our back as well. So just for a few breaths here, take notice of that area in between your lower ribs and the top of your pelvis, front to back and side to side. Good, and then maybe let that head drop down. If you like to roll the head around a little bit, you're welcome to do that. Maybe, and I do this all the time in the Sphinx, so if you like your lion's breath, take your lion's breaths here, that ferocious, fierce, forceful exhale, sticking out your tongue. Yeah. Crossing your eyes. Good. Why don't we hang in this Sphinx pose for, I'm going to say, another minute or so. And just a thought that it might be nice to drop your head down and even let it rest on like a block kind of thing, if you have that nearby, so that your forehead feels supported. Okay. Those analyzing parts of our brain are just sort of held here. Frontal lobes maybe get to relax a little bit, while the back part of our brain, that like reptilian brain, is a bit more open, right? Good. As you breathe, notice your scalp, your ears. And what do you hear? Awesome. Great, and why don't we just take another few breaths, maybe 2 or 3. Perfect. And when you're ready, go ahead and set yourself down, and we're gonna push back again. It might be into a puppy pose with your hips up above your knees and your arms stretched out kind of long in front of you, like a down dog, but on your knees. Another thought here, though, is to go back into a very wide knee child's pose. So just kind of pick your favorite for right now. Okay, and notice that you are here in your body at this moment, and that your body is this incredibly intelligent thing, and that it has so much to tell you. Good, and I'm a firm believer in the yoga practice or the asana practice as being just what we need, you know, to listen to our body, Great. It gives us the tools to listen in a little bit deeper. Gives us the shapes. Good. What do your shoulders feel like right now? What are you shouldering? How's your heart? Good. And how are your guts? Great. Why don't we just take another 10 deep breaths or so right here in this pose. I would like to offer up a little bit of upside down time for those of you who wish to take it. If you like a rabbit pose, rolling up onto the crown of the head, that might feel really nice. I'm a big believer in this pose being helpful for seasonal allergies, and this has been a hell of a week for me with those. So yeah, finding that pressure point at the top of your head maybe. Nice. Yeah, if you want to go all the way upside down, yeah, your feet are welcome to join in the party. If you're a headstander, great. Good. These next few exhales might leave your mouth almost with a sigh. Maybe it's like a loud sound coming out of your mouth, and that's great too. All right, and then we're just gonna scoot ourselves out of this thing. And we're gonna find our bellies again. Okay, spending a bunch of time on our belly today. Good. Adults need tummy time too. Good. As you find your belly, this is a nice chance for you to consider activating a little bit. If you would like to take a locust pose, you might sweep those arms alongside the body so that your fingertips reach back for your outer ankles, and then lift up, right? Your feet can be close together, they can be out wider. It's totally up to you. And if you're activating in this locust pose, think about spreading the effort out. I know sometimes when I practice this, it kind of gets crunchy in my mid-back. So think about really lifting up the outer tips of your collarbones, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. Yeah, really squeezing the knees in and up. Cool. And when you're ready to set yourself back down, you'll know it. Go ahead and set yourself down and turn your head so that your right cheek is on the floor. We're gonna take that right arm out alongside with your palm facing down. And then we're gonna roll over to the right side here. Okay, so our kidney meridian starts out in these upper ribs, right around just to the outside of your breastbone, just underneath like where your clavicle starts. Okay, or a little bit in, a little bit out, I should say. And I know that this pose really stimulates those points on me, but the added benefit here is that you're also getting into your heart meridian and your lung meridian down your arms. Good. And the heart meridian and the lung meridian so essential for our ability to really activate as well. We need to access our full breath. Good. We need to access our deepest heart needs here. Good. So why don't we take 20 breaths or so right here. Wonderful. Good, you're just about halfway there. And is there anything you can do for your lower body or in your lower body just to help support you? It might be bending that left knee and taking the sole of the foot down to the inner part or the outer part of that right leg, front or back. Or maybe you just want to tuck both knees into the chest and then lean back a little bit more into that right shoulder. Good, what works for you? Maybe none of those things work and you want to find your belly again, and that's also totally fine. Great, everybody. 5 more deep breaths. Awesome. Right, and let's make our way back through to the center now. And I want to offer up a little bit of activation again here if you would like. Just know that if you want to lie in your belly for a while, that's fine too. I'm thinking of maybe a forearm plank. maybe a forearm plank. So bringing your elbows under your shoulders and tucking your toes underneath. And then thinking about using the muscles of your lower belly and inner thighs to lift you. Good, so that your shoulders, your heels are kind of in line with each other. Good, really feeling the solar plexus right here at the middle of the belly draw in and up a touch, as if you can kind of pull it into your body a little bit more. This internal fire, and this heat. And keep the heels reaching away from the crown of the head. Nice. If you're in this forearm plank, you can choose to stay here. You can begin to walk your toes up towards your elbows, lifting the hips up high, coming into nobody's favorite pose, the dolphin pose. Good. And just know that we're all going to end up on our bellies again after a few breaths. Yeah. So if you're ready for that, you can absolutely just slide your way into your belly and let yourself melt into the floor. Those arms come out wide. The left cheek touches down this time. Yeah, good. And then we'll take our shoulder stretch over to the other side. So as you roll over to the left side, take notice of the position of that left arm, I guess, to begin with. If it feels really intense to have it straight out from the rest of you, think about drawing your hand down a little closer to your glutes. Good, and then what do the legs want to do here? Maybe both knees in towards the chest, almost this little like cocooning, one wing busting out. Good. Good. Breathing your deep breaths into this body of yours. This body that makes it all possible. Good. Good. What about another 7 or 8 breaths here? Good. And let's make our way back onto our bellies. I think maybe some hands and knees time is in order. A little bit of time up on all fours, and I'm thinking of some cats and cows or any kind of random wiggling that you like to do here. I don't feel like there's a wrong way to do this. I think that when you get on your hands and knees, it's almost as if like you can tap into what you actually need a little bit more. So maybe it's just spending like 5 good breaths, rounding the back, the head dropping down. If you're carrying a lot of stress, a lot of tension in the back of your body. Good. Maybe you want to wiggle the hips side to side, or, you know, roll the shoulders around a little bit. In this pose, I like to focus on my wrists a lot too. Our wrists are home to so many vital points. So turning those fingertips around so that they can point towards your knees is going to be a really nice thing for, you know, not just your wrists and your hands, but the organs that are connected to those vital points, which really then connect to every other organ in your body. Nothing is separated here. Yeah. Our heart and our lungs drive everything, yeah? Good. As you move, you might think about focusing on this part of the kidney meridian that's like right here on either side of your belly button. As you drop the belly down, notice that stretching through there. Good. And as you round the back, you might think about drawing those points on either side of your belly button up and back. Good. And then, yeah, I want to offer up a little bit of like flowing movement here too. So that could be you shifting back into your child's pose, sliding through into your low cobra, back through your child's pose. If you have a lot of energy that you want to use constructively for your own physical health this morning and your wrists are up to it, you might take your vinyasas where you come back to down dog, you roll forward to your high plank, you lower down to the floor, keeping those elbows close, press into the hands, lift the heart, and then shift it on up and back. And I want to offer up also some little like side plank actions for those of you who are in the mood to activate. If you are in that mood. So it just means you come up to your plank and you shift your heels to one side. And maybe that top hand lifts up, or maybe it stays on the floor, but just finding strength through the sides of your body. Good, creating 360 degrees of strength. Good, and breathing into that whole sphere that your body inhabits. Front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Okay, and I just want to tell you where we're headed next. If you feel like you've reached a natural stopping point with this flowing motion, we're all going to meet in a standing forward fold. So take some time to get there. Good. And the standing forward fold, we'll hang on to it for, I'm thinking of probably a total of like 3 minutes. I'm going to take this for a little while. If you have a wall nearby, it might be nice to just put your butt on the wall and make that connection. Okay, or you can even turn around and place your upper back against the wall or the back of the door. That's a nice way to stretch those muscles alongside the spine, and also to kind of free up a little bit of space in the connective tissue that houses your physical kidneys and your adrenal glands. Yeah. Good. Nice, everyone. If your knees want to bend, let them bend. Good. Sometimes that act of setting your chest down on your thighs with bent knees is just so comforting. Good. Let your head drop down and maybe even buzz your lips. Good. And be mindful of the inner and outer corners of your eyes. Right now, in this moment, there is nothing to look for. Okay? You do not have to be on alert. Not right now, not this moment. Nice. Okay, at home in your body. And using your breath as you would maybe open windows into your house to let in some freshness, to take away some of that stale air. Good. Good. A little less than a minute to go. Yeah, if you are feeling a big old shoulder stretch, you might interlace your fingers behind your back, press your knuckles towards the ceiling. If you're experiencing a lot of mental tension or even like physical scalp or jaw tension, pull your own hair. That's a nice thing to do too. Good, everybody. Right, and then very slowly we're gonna roll ourselves up to standing. Almost like you're a flower blooming out of the ground. In my garden right now, there are just like dozens and dozens of peonies opening up. Feeling pretty inspired by their beauty. Good, let's take a little bit of a standing camel pose here, just to stretch, again, those points, those kidney points that are in our belly, and to give our physical kidneys a little bit of a squeeze. Taking your hands here onto your lower back, like you're gonna put them in your pockets. Just think about pressing your hips forward in space while pressing your heels down, and really think about activating those thighs. Good, collarbones broaden, and maybe the head drops back, maybe not. Good. As you exhale, let's fold ourselves forward again, nice and slow. And then we're going to take the hands to the floor and just bring the feet a little bit wider, maybe as wide as the mat. And let's try to find something squat-like. So you might sit down a little bit. You might sit down a lot. Good. Good. Maybe you're sitting all the way down, hips in between the heels. And then we're just gonna rock a bit from side to side here. And what this does, among many, many things, is it helps to activate our kidney 1 point, which is this point right on the bottom of our foot. Okay, it's kind of near where the arch and the ball of the foot meet, in between the second and third toe. It's called bubbling spring, which I just love. Good. And I've been spending a lot of time over at Sulphur Springs recently, walking in the creek, sometimes with bare feet. And that's another nice thing you can do to help your body to restore itself, is to walk in a creek barefoot. If anybody wants to go with me sometime, let me know. And eventually we're gonna make our way out of this just by placing our knees on the floor. And as you bring your knees to the floor, we're gonna take a tiny little toe squat here. So we're not gonna hold it forever, but just thinking about finding some space through the soles of the feet. Good, and maybe this feels horrible this morning. Or maybe it feels really good. Okay, think about really lifting the lower ribs up here. Let your shoulders settle just a little bit. Couple more breaths. Right, and we'll set the hands back down on the floor, and let's come to stand up. And we're gonna grab our ball now, our tennis ball. And as you grab your tennis ball, let's just take it underneath the right foot. This is a little awkward. I have the camera on my feet and not my face. But we're just gonna take these sweeping motions here with the tennis ball along the sole of the foot. I think most of you have gone through this foot rolling protocol. We're just gonna do what we generally do here. So thinking about bringing that tennis ball up and down the arch, maybe staying like in the middle a little bit, sweeping over to the left, the right, after a while. Good. Waking up those feet. Remembering that there is this spring of energy within us that we can either, completely deplete if we just keep going, grinding, or we can replenish it if we give ourselves time and space for some rest and some ease. Good, and then I want you all to place your heel on the floor, and let's look for our kidney 1 point here. So it's kind of where your second and third toe meet. If you were to draw a line straight down from that to where your arch and the ball of your foot meet. Good, and think about just leaning into that point. Yeah, with the heel down, kind of press down into kidney 1 here. Good. Breathe a few big breaths. Maybe it feels tender, maybe it feels good. Good. Right, and let's go ahead and take that right foot off of the ball and just come to stand up in your mountain pose. A nice strong mountain here. He's standing up tall, broadening those collarbones again. From the top of your head reaching up and your heels planting down. Good, 2 more breaths. Alrighty, and now let's just take the other side. So bringing that ball underneath your left foot. Begin to roll just along the arch, and as you roll along the arch, inevitably you're gonna run into something that feels kind of tender, kind of weird, and especially if this is like your tighter foot. Right, take notice of what you're feeling. Okay, does this pressure into the foot make you grit your jaw, your teeth? Does it make you like hyper focus your eyes? See if you can keep your face kind of soft. Yeah, nice. Wonderful. Just another couple breaths here with these broad strokes. Good, and then let's look for that kidney 1 point. So planting the heel into the floor, just take the tennis ball more or less into the middle of the foot. Yeah, just where the ball of the foot meets the arch. Good. Straight line from the second and third toe meeting points. And lean into it. Take a couple big breaths if you need them. I know whenever I press into this point, it just feels good to release some breath out of my mouth. Good, 2 more of these breaths. Alrighty, and then let's bring ourselves back off of the ball, and you can just kind of kick that ball out of the way. Ooh, both feet on the floor just for a moment, and it might be nice to reach your arms up and overhead and just take this big full body stretch. And you might even like swivel your upper body around a little bit here in this full body stretch, maybe over to the right and over to the left, or yeah, maybe in this circle, or maybe you want to take these tall twists, but just maintaining that sense of groundedness through the feet as we find some movement perhaps through the upper body. And maybe what you need today is stillness. If that's the truth for you, then be still, it's fine. And eventually we're going to make our way back down to the floor and into a seated position. Good. And I just wanted to show you a little something. I hope that it's visible. I don't know. So this is a meridian, or a meridian graphic, and it shows us the points along the kidney meridian. So you can see that we have them on the inside edge of the ankle. And there are like 7 points down there. So I'm thinking like a solid 5 minutes, we are gonna spend time massaging our ankles. Our ankles need some love. They really, really do. I asked y'all to bring some lotion or oil if you've got it nearby. Go ahead and grab your lotion. And we're just gonna cross the legs in any comfortable way. It might even mean that you come to like sit in a chair or something. But let's think about pressing the thumbs into the inner arch of the foot and that inside line of the foot, pressing those thumbs and kind of even like squeezing, almost like you're like polishing, you know, some wood or banister or something. You're like squeezing around the ankle, squeezing around your Achilles tendon. Okay, taking time here to do this for yourself. You might even sneak into that kidney 1 point, which is that point like right here on the bottom of your foot, in between your second and third toe, right where the ball of the foot meets the arch. Maybe you specifically want to press into that, or it might just be those broad strokes, and that's wonderful too. Good. And as you massage your own foot and ankle, just kind of notice how things are feeling up in your shoulders. And see if you can take some deep breaths here. And let your upper body move. Sometimes we get all rigid, right? We're like, I'm just gonna press these points. But maybe there's this little bit of like swaying motion you have going on here. And maybe another minute or so on this foot. 30 seconds or so. Good, and why don't we all just grab a hold of our kidney 1 point for a moment for like 5 deep breaths. So looking for that spot kind of right in the middle of the foot, in between the second and third toes, straight down where the ball of the arch meet, and just press into it. Right, and then go ahead and release that. Give your hands a little stretch. They need some support too. So a little wiggle there. Good, and then we'll just move right on to the other ankle now. So thinking about the inside of the foot, okay, that inner edge of the ankle, kind of squeezing around the Achilles tendon, massaging around your ankle bone. Good. Every time I give myself an ankle rub, I'm like, whoa, I had no idea just how grumpy my ankles are. There's all kinds of tenderness going on in there for me. I don't know about you. Hey, let your upper body move a little bit too, kind of reminding ourselves that we don't need to be so rigid, right? There's a time and a place for structure, but there's also a time and a place for softness. Really leaning into that sense of ease and care. Good. Great. I'm thinking about another minute or so. And let's look for that kidney 1 point on this foot now and just press your thumb into it. And as you inhale, imagine that you can feel nice and lifted and full. And as you exhale, imagine that you can send the exhale down and out through this kidney point. Big breath in. Deep breath out. Good. 2 more. Right, and then go ahead and release the hands from that foot. We're going to get ourselves set up for either a restorative bridge or shavasana, however you'd like to finish today. I asked you to bring like a washcloth or an eye pillow if you have one to place over your eyes. Sometimes that little bit of weight and that little bit of darkness can make all the difference for us, right? Like, can we relax or not? So getting yourself set up in this pose where the front of your body is somewhat open, right? Whether your hips are lifted or not. Good. Arrange your arms so that your shoulders feel pretty good and comfortable. Good. Remembering that just for right now, you do not have to shoulder anything. Just for right now, you can allow yourself to be held and supported just by the floor beneath you. And also by the people practicing with you, all of you creating this collective energy of rest and healing. Remembering that we breathe not only for ourselves, we take care of ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for each other. Take this time now to breathe a little bit deeper. And maybe let your eyes look far to the right. And then far over to the left. And come back to center, nice and soft. You might take your tongue across the fronts of your teeth. Wiggle your jaw. And what do you hear? And so you feel ready to move your body in other ways, do it. Move that body. Move the wrists and the ankles and the elbows and the knees and your shoulders and your hips. And eventually we'll all take these small movements into a bigger movement to bring ourselves up into a seated position. Nice. Let's take a moment here with ourselves and our hands, I think, in Vajrapradama Mudra, which is like maybe my all-time favorite mudra. This gate in front of your heart, right? This reminder of trust, this reminder of protection. This really lovely reminder that we can trust in the way things are unfolding. And we can trust that we will know what actions to take. And a few deep breaths in through the nose here, out through the nose. Good. And when you feel ready to release the hands, let's just take them one on top of the other, on top of the heart in this little pile. Deep breath in, lift that heart up in the hands. And a deep breath out to drop your head down towards your hands and your heart, honoring your practice and honoring each other too. Thanks everybody for coming this morning. It's lovely to see all your faces. And yeah, I'm thinking that next week, weather permitting, this will be a hybrid class, both on Zoom and out in my front lawn. So if you want to come practice in the garden, come practice with me in my garden. If you want to unmute yourselves and say anything now, you're certainly welcome to do that. Yay. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that we have a solstice celebration happening in the garden too. Woohoo! So that's going to be on the solstice on Saturday the 20th from 7 to 9 p.m. Me and Stacy Pickering, who does sound baths. So she's going to bring all of her healing instrumentation, and we are going to serve some delicious herbal sun teas, and we're just going to kind of like lay around on my lawn and do some like what we just did more or less. And then a nice long sound bath. So if you're into that, let me know and I'll get y'all signed up. But yeah, oh, it's good to see your faces. And I hope you're all well.
Thanks, Hope.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thanks, I will.
Thank you, Hope.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 See you soon.